Dragon Shard. You don't play until you think it's over. You play until it's over.
Yes.
So when you think it's over, it's like, I made a great play. I made 3 great plays. All right, we're ahead. Just sit on it. No, you have to keep playing and keep going for the... Like, you basically have to just decimate them, destroy them, because there's always a chance of a comeback. Whether it's stealing a Baron, turtling it out, having a longer... your team comp has more longevity to it, and you have more late game champions.
Yep. Well, something to watch for here. The picks and bans coming through, though. Lee Sin, Kayle, Shyvana, all removed by Team Green Forest. Second time we're seeing Blue Team Shyvana ban. Other side, Castle, Twisted Fate, and Jax. So Coast putting such a priority on that champ. They'll first pick it or ban it away. Means Ziggs goes to Dat Control. Lulu and Lucian goes to Coast.
Yeah. The Ziggs is going to give longevity to the game as a whole with the wave clear.
I like that pick.
Give them more opportunities to stay safe. And now Team Coast, they immediately pick up the Lulu, which is most likely for Golden Glue, which isn't his primary style, but it's still in that utility mid laner that he's been picking up recently with the Orianna, which we saw him play in the LCS, and the Lulu is just an all-around great pick when you're supporting the team.
Yeah. I do want to open up that it is a possible pick for Rux and that he does play it in solo queue some, so it's in the pool. We'll have to see. I really love Ziggs against more like slow playing teams, and Coast to me actually looked like they played a little bit slow. Because if you're a slow playing team, you kind of just default into sieging. It's like, well, we want a team fight siege, and Ziggs shuts that down. And so Coast has to find new plays in their playbook, I think, when this comes through. New champs coming out. Elise again for the jungle here for Aranko, but actually Dawn picking up Caitlyn, a much stronger laner, less late game power, but a ton of wave clear. A very different look for the team. And
they're going to need wave clear. It's up against Nami.
Yep.
So once again, Daydreamin had a fantastic showing on that in synergy with his fusion on Lucian. Yeah. So they're going for pretty much the same combo. Oh my god, I hope he goes for the Blitzcrank. I really hope he goes for the Blitzcrank, but he's not going to.
No.
That's his most... actually, it's not his most played.
Most famous.
Yeah, actually, it is his most played, actually.
Oh, it is.
Most famous and most played in solo queue. He loves the hook champions, but Nami has made a comeback for him. He's been playing Blitzcrank, Thresh, Nami, and Zyra. So he's loving those disengaged champions or the ones that hook.
Would you say he's hooked on them?
I would definitely say he's hooked on them right now.
That's good.
But you don't want to be hooked on when you're Nami.
No.
He's not going to have... You didn't have too much problem with that last game, getting the early Michaels, which is actually pretty cheap right now.
Yeah, 1800-ish?
Yeah, it's around that area. It's about 1600.
Yeah.
Right on the dot.
Less good at support. Kha'Zix picked up here for Coast. I think that's probably going to go to Mash, although the Evelyn was still available if you wanted it. Could be... Actually, a bunch of places, to be fair. Like, Kha'Zix is basically a flex pick at this point. Renekton still picked up here, and they hover on Morgana. Morgana Nami's not a good matchup for Morgana. But, I mean, if it's a lane swap, that doesn't really matter. But if they do go for this, they've got a fully long-range, disengage-heavy team that just says, well, if we land a Cocoon or a Bind, we can go in. But otherwise, we'll play back. It's a new type of team for Team Green Forest.
They do have the synergy with the Elise, the binding, the CC back and forth. What are they going to do with it? And there we go. Okay, so that is Rux playing Lulu top. Yep. And that's going to be Yasuo for Golden Glue. We talked about how he loves Assassins. Yep. He loves Zed. He loves Akali, which he used to play all the time on Complexity Red. And then he started picking up utility mid laners. But I love that he's going back to Yasuo. And we had a conversation about this yesterday where it's like, why isn't he playing that? He would be amazing on that champion. Apparently he is. Good. In conjunction with Rux, who's playing Lulu top, who's a big lane bully.
Yeah.
Lulu and Kayle up in the top lane crush all other top laners right now during levels 1 through 5, and even a little further than that. Because they just auto-attack routes, they can wave clear on top of you, and they just get huge bonuses to their just regular, just swing at you damage. And help picks and Righteous Fury. So Rux is actually not going to have as difficult a time in lane now, because he's not on Jax. He's got these power spikes that are going to help him help the team. This is, once again, a team-oriented composition for Coast, which is something that Team Green Forest had a problem with. We talked about their team play was lacking. They had individual skill, but they're still getting individually outclassed. And then when Team Coast group up, they just had the better team fight as well. So now they went for a team fight-oriented composition. Team Green Forest, there's a lot on their shoulders right now, just bearing down on top of them, saying, you have to deal with us as better players. You also have to deal with us as a better team fight comp.
They got to see if they can do it, right? Like, just go for the bindings, go for the cocoons, look for the picks. There's a lot of long-range access for Team Green Forest, right? Ziggs, Caitlyn. You know, think about Caitlyn's like, okay, good wave clear, but also the longest range spells of an AD carry that aren't skill shots, basically. That was kind of weird how it kind of sounded.
Or
basically,
ultimates. Yeah,
it's like, it's not Draven, Ezreal, or Ashe with the global, but like, Caitlyn's going to hit that person that gets binded.
Yes.
Right? And like, she's going to participate in those catches, and that's how Team Green Forest tries to win.
Yeah, and there's no retaliation either, for the most part. Like, the opposite person, like, if he binds Lucian, he's got 100 range advantage on him. You can go ahead and black shield the Caitlyn. You won't break it in time.
That's absolutely true. So we'll see how they can play around this. Right now, though, Coast looking at another lane swap here, the second time in a row.
Yeah, it's funny because you do kind of have an advantage with Lucian Nami, but it's just switched right now. I was going to say swap-swapped. But the Morgana doesn't do too well against Nami, but Lucian kind of goes even with Caitlyn, and if it's a Caitlyn abusing Brush and getting a lot of headshots off, then she definitely comes out on top. So kind of disjointed, and they're like, all right, we don't even want to risk it. Let's just go for the lane swap. And if TGF end up abusing a 3.5-minute dragon, could be their key into this game. Of course, Lulu does do a little better than Renekton in the early CS department.
Yeah, but we'll see. If they're even in a matchup, right, it won't even mean too much. So Coast don't have any good ways of ganking the mid lane as well. So like the lane swap, like go dive mid with dudes, not really very useful for Rux and Mashmi. Like you can force it, but it's not great. Whereas you totally have the chance of like Renekton and Elise showing up and killing Yasuo. So you can't win while Renekton. Crocodiles are not affected by the wind, if you didn't know.
Look at Coast going for almost the same invade on the same side, just going for a different buff this time.
This is interesting. They are going to get spotted on their way down, though, and it's going to be a defensive trinket ward just below them, and they're going to get all the way in on this one.
Once again, TGF have all the information they need to make the right call in retaliation. So they're going to go ahead and go for the same play as before, not splitting the experience on the first camp and letting Renko get level 2 over DAT control. And are they just going to play it the same, or are they going to adjust their strategy? Because it didn't work last time.
Didn't, but maybe they've made some new things happen this time. Golden Glue missing a couple CS, actually. He's got 5 of the first wave. That's not too bad. He missed 1. Not exactly a huge problem there for himself. Oh, what a scrub. He's missed 17% of the minions in his lane. Well, now better than that, because he's gotten these, too. Anyway, moving on to this topic, though. Standard duo lanes, of course. They are just simply doing their standard CS stuff. Caitlyn and Morgana at the bottom lane. Both going Spell Thief, so they've got to hit the turret to get that gold in. Mash and Rux taking the slow route to the top side of the jungle, but that's fine. It's completely safe.
At this point in the game, you pretty much just tap your top laner on the shoulder and say, come.
Follow me into the magical forest.
Double jungle? What is this? Season 1?
Yeah, why the heck not, dude? It's how it works right now for these guys.
It's working, though. Like, the 2v1s, when you do something like this, it gives you a lot of options. Because when somebody initiates the play, you have to counter it by pretty much doing the same play and just playing it better in tiny points. Right now, they're all grouped around the middle. They are seen by TGF. Their TGF is seen by Coast here by that ward.
I've seen so many ganks get spotted by this ward.
And now Coast, they aren't going to be seen if they come in off on the left side.
Okay, so Coast
they're going to
wait
bait it.
Yeah, they're going to wait with the counter gank. Golden Glue is trying to go on an NATO to pick people up. There goes the satchel. There comes the jump in. He's pulling the team in towards, and there comes Mashmi and Rux. Flash away from NATO. Orenko now not exactly the best spot. He went in, though, and maybe shouldn't have, but Golden Glue gets picked up by the bouncing bomb. They'll trade back. Rux gets the kill, but he's got to be very afraid. Double kill now for NATO, and this went so well for Team Green Forest.
And here's the thing. Team Green Forest swings on the hinge that is NATO, and now he just got 2 kills 4 minutes into the game and double buffs handed over to him. They're going to TP back into this with Rux, but this allows the side lanes to create pressure, to continue doing what they were doing. And I'm pretty sure the AD carry and support is pretty much like, all right, good job mid. You know, we're just going to keep doing what we were doing.
Going to right-click the structure right here. Coast, unfortunately, now they're being, you know, on the back foot here. 6,000, or sorry, 6,600. That'd be massive. Holy crap, 6,000 gold.
Well, they are at 6,000.
Yeah, right. Well, 600 gold lead right there. When Wall comes out, Golden Glue still trying to CS, but whew.
Yeah, against a Ziggs, his range is a little lower than before. He's got the 550 now, but he's got the auto attack harass onto Yasuo. He's got 2 levels up on Golden Glue currently. It's a horrible situation to be in if you're Golden Glue. And NATO, great situation for him. And a great situation for Team Green Forest on the overall. Big part of that was the cocoon into the bush. It didn't hit the target he was going for. It didn't hit Golden Glue. It ended up hitting Mashmi in the bush, and they're like, uh-oh. Something strange in this bush.
Yeah, in the neighborhood. Who are you going to call?
Oh, obviously the rest of your team.
Yep.
Because they showed
up.
up.
They got a double kill and NATO for it. And right now, I gotta say, one thing to actually point out, right, is Season 4 we made the change where early game kills aren't worth as much gold. Those kills happen around 4 minutes. Those are full value kills. You're seeing some nice items on NATO. Fiendish Codex plus a second Doran's Ring. So he's got so much ability power right now. He will clear waves incredibly fast. He can join up other lanes very, very quickly as well. And now, actually, here's the interesting thing, is Coast have killed the turret. Now, will they bounce the wave back and try to freeze, or are they going to shove in and do something else with their time?
Yeah, I don't know. Coast, they end up getting themselves a gold lead, but it's very, very short-lived because they're going to get it for themselves here. But now the Dragon control, because the early lead is in TGF's favor, goes over to them. So if they can get a Dragon out of this, if they can push the lead, if they can do something, then they can start creating a snowball and setting their team up for success, which is what they didn't do last game.
Exactly.
Another big thing here, too, is that Yasuo relies a lot on his wind wall. Like, every ability that Ziggs throws out can be blocked by the wind wall, but it has a very long cooldown, and you don't max it until last. So the fact that he has this early lead and this early AP, you don't build any magic resistance as Yasuo. Maybe you can get Merc Treads, but right now, look at this. They're grouping up for the Dragon. It's the right call by TGF. Yeah,
and with Fusion on the wrong side of the map, so unless you go for a steal, this is going to be TGF's Dragon. So 5v4 for sure. 5v3 right now, actually, and there is the Dragon picked up. Team Green Forest making a lot better choices here, and now they're 1,100 gold in the lead.
You have to make the moves. You can't be the reactive team, and they're playing it right now. They get that lead, and like I said, it doesn't matter if you get a lead, you have to do something with it, and they're doing what they can. They're making the right moves right now. 1,000 gold lead for them. NATO having his double buffs expire, and now Golden Glue can start to do something. Daydream's on top of a ward, so Daydream's not going to be too much help. Instead, they know where he is.
It's okay. Wait some time for this one. Team Coast, this is kind of the phase where they have to be licking their wounds a little bit. Rux pushing the bottom lane. They're going to be in this matchup there. Level 4 for both these guys. Dat Control versus Rux. And we're going to get to see this matchup play out with a small CS lead for Dat Control. Managed to teleport into a kind of big wave here. That could pay off. Rux actually is going to recall, though.
I like this from Dat Control, augmenting his build, because he previously went for the Tiamat. And Tiamat Renekton, you have a big power spike when you get it, but you delay your actual power for team fights. It's funny how it works. You destroy the lane and you push the waves incredibly quickly, but when you show up to the team fight, you don't fulfill the role that you were picked to do.
Yeah.
So that's once again, it's the individual play over the team play. But right now he's rushing the Giant's Belt, and he's going to get tanky and durable for his team so that he can guard his backline.
Well, look at this, though. We've got interesting lane assignments here. Normally, I wouldn't think Yasuo is good against Renekton, but he's a level up, and of course, Renekton's been starved away, so Coast sends Golden Glue to split push against him to keep the farm going and maybe keep Dat Control down. Put Rux in the mid lane to defend the siege, because again, Team Green Force have Ziggs Caitlyn. They're going to want a siege.
That's absolutely right now. NATO up in the top lane, though, just trying to clear. And the funny thing is, you talked about Yasuo versus Renekton. Yeah, Renekton wins that, actually.
Just even with this advantage?
Yeah, with this advantage that he has, because it's just CS, right? But at the same time, there's 2 assists onto Dat Control that he went for the Giant's Belt over the no items that Golden Glue has.
Fair, yeah.
Like, if Golden Glue backs and gets something like a Zeal, then he'll be in a little better position to go ahead and duel him. But until then, it just goes in Renekton's favor right now. Okay,
wow. So that'll be an interesting one. Then the Coast opted into that matchup. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out, honestly. I mean, we see Renekton's pushed him up to the turret, right? Like, so far, yeah, the Coast matchup isn't going necessarily swimmingly. 39 to 53 in minions, not a very big difference anymore. So I gotta say, that is happy for Dat Control. Renko gets in on the top side. He's gonna take away this pink ward now with a ward as well to cover the side. The sieging continues here for Team Green Forest. NATO and Saracen getting some good damage down. Turret's down about 10%. Right now, everything's working for the blue team.
And Golden Glue back, and he got himself a Bilgewater Cutlass, which is the right choice. I said Zeal, but I was like, oh, yeah.
That's fine. Sustain. Oh, a lot of damage, though, with Fusion. Oh, man. Good guy Mash Me tanked the Kate ulti. Otherwise, I think Wiz Fusion might have died. But the mid turret still goes down. And look at this now, 2,000 gold. Puts Team Green Forest ahead.
Yeah, they're making the right moves this game against Team Coast. And they're pushing the little advantages that they get for themselves. Now, Golden Glue, at the 10-minute mark, has 65 CS for himself, and just a Bilgewater Cutlass and an extra Doran's Blade to his name. He needs to start stepping it up. He's 1,000 gold down over NATO. They're trying to put him in the solo lane to split push. Later on, Yasuo becomes a great duelist, but Nash, there's no ultimate here for NATO. but he's going to stay.
All right.
Okay.
Bursted it out. He's all right. No, doesn't? Ooh, wow. He was going to die, but he doesn't stay for the ward kill. He knows he's in enemy territory with no backup whatsoever, so smart play by NATO to not go for the ward.
Yeah.
That was the right call. He saw it. Trust me, he saw it.
Oh, yeah.
He knew not to kill it.
He also saw the Nami there, too,
yeah.
which was the big thing. If he gets bubbled, he'll have to blow his flash or something along those lines because he used his satchel charge offensively.
Exactly. Okay, well, Saracen puts the pink ward down, spots the enemy pink ward, and there's going to be some extra ward control now.
Dat control has twice the CS of Rux again.
Yep.
Now they're just converging on this top lane. It'll be a 3-on-3. They have the ward control here for TGF. Great pink ward to know that nobody's here. And Mashme's actually on top of ward. Daydreaming gets too close to hit him with a binding.
And there's the binding. There's the damage coming out. Nice Cocoon as well. Good damage. Morgana ulti over the wall, but that's not going to get anything for them except to send Coast back. 3 guys top lane versus 3 guys for Coast. Can they hold onto the turret for very long? Looks like damage coming through just a little bit. Ziggs coming in, and Lucian is not. So it's going to give some time for Coast to push the mid lane down. Ziggs ulti is up, though, if he keeps going for this.
Yeah, Wiz is just going to continue to push this lane down. NATO, he's coming back to the mid lane because he's forced down there. Wiz has a great CS right now, 106. I mean, going to the 2-on-0 lanes, you pretty much perfect CS your way all the way through it for 4 or 5 minutes.
Sure.
And, ooh, good black shield there.
Now Saracen pulls Zag up. They're going to be okay. There's still the top lane siege. I like this by Team Green Forest. They're not playing conventional lanes. They're playing a team composition they have prepared. Right? Caitlyn is not a normal pick. Right? You normally see Kog'Maw with, sometimes you might see a Corki, you might see a Twitch. All those were on the table and said, no, we've got a comp in mind. We've got a strategy in mind. We'll play this, and it's working. They're getting the gold lead from getting turrets down. They've made good plays in the lanes, and you're going to see them continue this. Now, the question is, how long, like, judging by their Game 1 difficulties, if they run into something they're not ready for, will they slow down and run out of ideas? Because this feels like a prepared strat, right? They know step 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. If step 4 fails, do they have step 5B in case of step 4 failing? That's the question.
Step 1, lane swap. Step 2,
kill some turrets.
Step 3,
kill some more turrets.
Step 4, Step 5,
don't
profit.
get caught out.
No,
yeah,
no, no.
Step 5 is profit. Step 4 is don't get caught out, and if something goes wrong, step 5 fails. So I got to figure out what it is. Right now, Coast looking to get their gold back in this one. Of course, they're on the correct side of the map to go for Dragon. The top lane siege took long enough that Coast got to move around the map, give up the turret, and go somewhere else. As Dragon at half HP, and no one's around to stop it.
Oh, he's going to try.
Nope. Nice. Good patience.
Very, very close, though. Around that point. Maybe you need a little more chunk there, for Renko was off on the side. Could have been possible, but because of the great rotation there by Coast from the top lane to bring it all down, they basically intuitively knew that this is the time they'd have large chunks of gold in their inventory. Just go for it. Go for it because they won't be able to contest it. They got some vision control of the area with their pinks and just set it up. Now Rux, free farming top lane, he's been shut down all game again. Nothing's going into him. He had half the CS of Dat control up until a minute ago.
54 minions on the Lulu. That item build he's got right there was like the 6-minute build for NATO. Right? Double Doran's Ring Codex. Now he's got the Chalice in there as well. So you can see he's the Athenes combined and a Blasting Wand behind NATO right now. So this Zig's still a very big threat. 102 on minions there. Going to get this blue buff as well for himself at level 9, 14 minutes in. And now this is now the big siege spike power. You've got basically infinite mana Ziggs with a maxed out bouncing bomb. You've got a Caitlyn with a Bloodthirster. This is like this is kind of like the power spike where now that the outer turrets are gone, you could do even more as Team Green Forest.
Yeah.
Good smite.
Good smite there. Get it for himself for Mash. But Yasuo has some very strange power spikes because they're all based off of items and when you buy your attack speed, because your Q will become faster and the lower cooldown on it. So as soon as Yasuo starts getting, and it's also based off of crit as well, depending on the build you go for. So Golden Glue is just farming, making sure he has no opposition in the farm. It's just free farm for him. So that's what they're going to try to do, is rely on the combo of the Rux knockup with Lulu and the Wild Growth to set Golden Glue up for a multi-person last breath. Could also use it off of Daydreamin's Tidal Wave, but we'll have to see what they end up doing. They have a lot of things here to help Golden Glue out, but the reason that they're putting free farm into him is because he's the linchpin of the strategy.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, we saw this with Dignitas versus CLG. you've got a team that wants to siege, and if they're diligent about playing the comp right, and they're not making any dumb mistakes, they will start the siege, and it's on the other team to poke a hole in the armor, to find a way in to start a battle. Right now, Coast have not started any battles. They got a dragon in a very smart movement, but if the siege starts again for Team Green Forest, which it is right now, can Coast stop it?
Yeah, Team Green Forest, like you said, the bouncing bomb and the blue buff constantly sieging up. They're going to rotate to this turret, and Coast, they're not there with the right numbers to respond just yet.
They had a minion with the mid lane, but there's not going to be enough. No one's around. The last breath would be suicide there. Windwall comes in, binding on a Mashpee. Oh my gosh, the damage coming through a lot. The ulti burned by 2 members of
coming back in.
Coast, but they're going to go in for this fight. A whole bunch of bursts. NATO survives to get his combo down. They trade 2 for 1 so far. Coast getting the slightly better start on this one. Mizfusion going in, finding another one. Aranka now forced to run away. Dat Control and the wings getting kited around by Rux. It's going to be the flash away. Elise stays safe. Now Dat Control has flash, has teleport.
The red buff on Rux, though, and he's got to go through a turret, too.
A lot of damage coming through. There's the dash. Q, one more hit. And down he goes. So Rux claims the kill on the end of that one. 2 for 4, I believe, the fight overall. What a great fight for Coast.
Yeah, Coast from the start had the better team fight composition. The setup here, they chunk Mashpee out, but the call is still to go. They go off of his own last breath there onto 2, and they just leap in straight onto it. They get NATO down, and Golden Glue just doing so much work that fight, but ends up getting dropped. He hasn't actually backed. I believe at the time he still only had the Bilgewater cut. Actually,
yeah, I think he did.
May have had static.
I don't remember.
No, he got it now.
I know he has it now.
Yeah.
No, there's no way he has. There's no way he got like 2 kills and then only just like that's given nothing else, right? So that had to be him getting shit right there. So yeah, and you know what's funny about that fight as well is Mashpee kind of baited that fight in the right kind of way. Morgana and Elise, the 2 guys with CC, and Morgana, the peel specialist, is on the left-hand side chasing a Kha'Zix down. The 2 squishy backliners get caught out with no one defending them.
Yeah.
Right? They got blown up without Morgana around to help them out. It's not like Yasuo can break the black shield, so that got missed. And it was a great play by Coast to find their way in. It puts them within 300 gold now. Dragon's in a minute and a half. They're only down 1 turret. Coast are right back in.
Yeah, it was all Mashpee getting caught, but not really getting caught. Pro strats.
Pro strats.
Was able to live through the CC there, so they couldn't lock anybody else up. Used his ultimate to absorb some of the damage, then jump straight back in on the engage. It was a great last breath from Golden Glue because he set himself up with the Steel Tempest.
Yes.
But he was on the right targets too.
Yes, it was.
Getting NATO in a tornado.
Yep. He was asking for it. It's in the name.
He had NATO written all over him.
There you go. Well, the mid lanes he's going to continue, though. Team Green Force, they're not down and go, but Mashpee forcing this one. Has this low, has the ulti, the satchel charge, the Rux flank as well. Are they going to have enough? Nice tidal is going to land onto 3 people, but the Ziggs bomb puts a lot of damage through Mash. Has no health left. He's forced to run. Aranko claims a victim. 1 for 0. That fight forced way too hard by Coast.
Yeah, Mashpee and Rux were trying to pinch there. The rest of the team was not behind them in the correct manner, and Dat Control built full tanky this game, so he's able to just soak up as much damage as possible. And now they get to siege with their siege comp just a little bit now.
They got a couple seconds right now. Daydreamin itself hasn't actually healed. There's only a single ultimate up for Coast as well, and they need those to swing these fights. So that is a risk, but right now it's actually going to be Team Green Force backing up, playing around the wards, because guess what? Dragons come up now.
Playing around the fights, but look at that. They don't have the control or the HP to fight this. Dat Control does have teleport, so he can get into the fight. They are going to see him back. Question is, are they going to force it? Are they going to jump onto it?
Well, Coast are.
Yeah, Coast, it's the right move for them because they have all of their members back up. Mashpee is now available. Rux, his full HP, and Golden Glue is off from mid. He's trying to push that down, trying to keep his CS up.
So look at that. Team Green Force. This is the second time I've seen that now this series. A team push someone away or gets a kill, stays too long, and their recalls are now mistimed off the objective. The second dragon I've seen getting picked up because of something like this. So Coast now actually a 100 gold lead off a misplay by Team Green Forest.
You have to back so that you can set up for the dragon about 40 seconds in advance. You can get there, make your stand, get your wards in the proper positions. Because what they ended up doing is they tried to siege the mid lane after that fight, and they didn't get anything for it. Instead, they give the Dragon over to Coast because of the way that they were staggered.
So awesome stuff then to make this all happen. Coast looking great now. 500 gold lead. Equal now in turrets. They've been winning in Dragons. I believe it's 2-1 at this point. Rux is even catching up right now. Sword Shoes plus the Athene's already done. He's still done 30 minions on Dat Control, but once again, his score is 3-1 and 2. He's having a better impact on the game. Just gotta hand it to him. He's doing a lot with little.
Yeah, and Dat Control both games, he's been going after the CS, whereas Rux is kind of like just stay alive, show up to the team fights, and provide my utility to the team to provide my damage. And once again, it's a deathless bottom lane for Wiz Fusion and Daydreamin'. And it's still, Golden Glue's power spikes are one of the most important thing in this game for Coast. Can Yasuo just farm up and get to the team fight phase? Can Rux get a knockup for him? Or can Daydream get a knockup for him? Or can he get his own? So there's a lot of options here for him.
Oh,
right
wow.
onto the trap.
Satchel charge onto the trap. A lot of ultis coming down. Wiz Fusion does stay alive through it, though. Rux takes a bunch of pain. But he will survive that matchup. But again, his turret down very, very low. Team Green Forest happy to siege while Golden Glue splits off in the wing, so they know it's a 5v4. They know the pushing is safe. The Spiderlings tank the turret shots, and that's going to go down. TGF find their fourth, so does Coast.
This is not the right call for Coast currently. They're going to try to make it so that, yeah, look at, he's going to back off of it, and they're just going to TP down. They trade 1 for 1, but there's going to be more damage onto this turret.
So 4v4 without the playmaker, which means this turret's just taking damage.
Golden Glue is now fighting Dat Control one-on-one. He can kill him.
Wow.
He's got it.
Red buff, the ulti, a whole bunch of pain coming through. Dat Control, the flash in, the dash, the damage, the knockup, and the kill in the solo 1v1 lane.
He ends up getting him, and he turns the entire tide of the map in Coast's favor now. Team Green Force, they have to back or they're going to lose an inhibitor turret.
Yeah, so Coast just trying to stop recalls right now, and this inhib turret is starting to take damage. 17 seconds on Renekton. Rux still trying to find something to do. Can't quite find any Qs down there. Tidal Wave's gonna catch one. Oh my gosh, they got NATO. He's gonna get bubbled. This is so good for Coast. Unless this fight gets turned some way. Good Ziggs ulti, but Rux stays safe. The flash in, match with one. Gets the reset, gets the ulti onto himself. Exhaust might just keep him safe. Nuh-uh. Double kill picked up. Now onto a Renko. Big damage comes through. Cocoon, or Repel, not putting him anywhere useful. A third kill picked up in this fight. Coast find their way in.
They just blew the game wide open there. I was saying it didn't look like it was the right move, but then Dat Control goes too aggressive and tries to stop Golden Glue, which ends up turning the whole map around. He ends up getting solo killed, and now look at this. Right before it goes off, he actually cancels it. He moves.
I think he was caught anyway. He was trying to run away.
He just walked away from it and mashed me with the resets. Gets NATO, gets exhausted, but still gets Sarah's son. He gets locked up by the ultimate there, or by the binding, but then they get Renko in the end. So Coast coming up big after that fight.
They're massive, dude. 2,000 gold lead. They're looking great now. Team Green Forests looks like, you know, step 4. Again, step 4 didn't work.
Nope. Step 4.
The sieges were good. The rotations were good. They even got the bottom lane tier 2 turret for that move right there. Like, those plays still work, but they're not reacting to the scary split pusher that beats you Renekton.
Yeah.
Right? The untouched, I don't want to say untouched because Golden Glue died early on, but like,
but the Yasuo power spikes.
Right. The Yasuo power spikes, like the fact that even though like it's not that great a matchup against Renekton, well, too bad. He's ahead. Dat Control was held down early game. Realistically, he was. And he never actually got to win that matchup. The split push Golden Glue worked, even though he's the primary engage tool. And TGF misplays around it. Suddenly they're panicked because, well, we've got to go back to our base, and the recalls are mispositioned, and Coast capitalizes off of good out-of-nowhere decision-making.
Yeah.
You know, hasn't happened before, but in this case, you know what? This is the right call.
Yeah, it was the opportunity that was made by Golden Glue, who's now 2 levels up over anybody else in the game. He's just coming up really big for himself because they funneled so much gold and solo experience into him when he was off on that side lane for so long. And then he split pushes by himself. He hits those item power spikes with the crit and the fact that he has Blade of the Rune King, that nobody can really mess with him at this point. And if it's even Renekton, who's stacking armor, you can get through that with Last Breath. Now, right now, they get a catch here for Daydream, but Mashme's gonna force it.
And the knockup comes in on the 2, and there's the Tidal Wave in the backside. Sarasun goes down, and a 2-man knockup from Tidal Wave means the fight is on. Big damage coming out. Golden Glue all the way into the back line. 3 members of TGF have gone down. Golden Glue will die to the turret. Daggerdo does what he can, but he only can claim 1 kill. Triple kill there for Wiz Fusion, and only Arenko's alive.
And it was the engage start there. It looked like Rux was setting up the last breath with his ultimate, but the one they want to take is the Tidal Wave because it was a more priority target on Dawn. They get him and Arenko locked up in it, and they immediately just run away with it. Nash is forcing this. It looked like he wanted to go after Sarasun and Dawn there. Wasn't quite in range for Golden Glue. Now he gets Dawn and Arenko. They pick up Dawn with Mashme very, very quickly. That damage. The Golden Glue actually stays here a little too long and gets taken out by the turret.
Yeah. Saved for 1 attack too many, got cocooned in the back, and that sealed the deal for him. So unfortunate for the man, but hey, at the very least, we've still got Mikhail's Crucible finished for Daydreaming, so we can help him next time around. Get ourselves back into this one. You're seeing wards get taken away. Team Green Force, they didn't lose Baron for it. Coast simply went for the turret, recalled, healed up. This time around didn't give away any map objectives for the recall, so well timed here. Dragons up. Both teams have wards over Baron, so neither team can sneak it.
And it looks like Golden Glue's actually going to go for the Zerker's Greaves over the Merc Treads, despite the fact that there's a binding and a cocoon on the enemy team. Instead, he wants to go for the tower pushing potential, the attack speed that he would get out of it. Because you already get max on your Q from just having those other 2 attack speed items. And now they're contesting the Dragon with Golden Glue off on the side. Because he can always just jump into the fight with Last Breath's range if there's a knockup set up for him.
Mashme is though going to get CC'd up. He's got to be a bit careful. Mikhail's is popped. They just go for the fight. Anyway, he's going right in on this one. Zig's off in the wings. A lot of damage comes through. Mash with Gilgy stays pretty safe. Dat Control, though, is tanky, so who cares about hitting him? Couple of spells burned there for not much gain. Windwall goes down as well. Team Green Force group back up to the mid lane.
They wait for a jump in, and Rux gets an ultimate.
Not going to knock it for
they
Golden
can
Glue.
Go ahead and engage with the Last Breath, but
yeah,
just trailing backwards right now.
They're still landing some slows, though. Mashme around in the wings. Ulti comes in, blocked by Wiz Fusion. He's got a Bloodthirster, so it's pretty safe for him.
Golden Glue back to the top lane, back to farming. Level 16 now. Maximum rank on his ultimate. As soon as the fight's over, he'll have it back up again. And if they disengage it, where the fight turns on them, he can still get a second one off. It's very, very possible with that very low cooldown on it.
We'll see if they can make that one happen, because right now, Coast looking to set up one of those Last Breaths, set up one of those engages, set up the fight. Windwall comes down, Bubble, not going to land. Black Shield keeping that one safe.
I love this comp, though. They have so many ways to set up Golden Glue, and he got shut down very, very early on. They just put him in a side lane and had him farm.
Now he's doing pretty well for himself, right? 2 big items, the Makings of Infinity Edge, about halfway to it. And I want to see what Coast's actual gameplay is, because this entire game, they've been the ones being reacted to, right? They're the ones that are reacting. They're defending. They're saying, okay, they're sieging. Let's go in now. Let's make that fight. Coast haven't really been the hardcore aggressors for much of this game. And now's their time to have to be. But they have very low sieging. Picks are kind of hard to get, to be honest, when they're facing a Black Shield. Their split pushing is also mediocre, so how do you get in, Coast? What is the game plan now?
It's Mashme jumping in invisible.
Basically.
Right onto Dump. There it is.
And he's going to go in. Good amount of slows. The knockup does land as well. Dom puts a trap down, and Mashme flashes around it and finds the kill. There's the pick. They found it. The team's going to move down towards the bottom side of the map. Yasuo still splitting in the top, but look at this. TGF. They're going to ult to clear some of this, but they can still stay a little bit longer.
Mashme starting to get those tanky items for himself, and Wiz Fusion has had no problem just taking out turrets all game long. Game 1, Game 2, no problem at all. Still 0 deaths between that bottom lane.
19 KDA this game for the bot lane. To add to the 30 the last one, 49. They're catching up on Gamers 2.
Whew. Gamers 2 have played more games than them, though.
Twice as many.
Yeah.
Coast maybe destined for good things with this duo here. Arenko, Dat Control going to keep his top lane afloat right here, but Coast taking their little small measured advantages. They've not set up Baron yet, though. I feel like that's actually their best play because they're trying to receive TGF. And it's not like you're facing like Nidalee, so like the poke's not that crazy. Like yes, it's there, yes, it's relevant, but like you can win wall it.
Yeah, you don't want Ziggs getting to the objective first is the big thing, because if you're trying to come in on a Ziggs, it's worse than if a Ziggs is trying to come in on you.
Oh, yeah.
Because when he just throws down his Hextech minefield, Hexplosive minefield, he just sections off an area for 10 seconds. You're like, okay, you want to cross this and take a whole bunch of damage? That's fine. Here, he just throw it out and be like, okay, kind of got it at the start.
Ranko, though, has got to be careful. Flashes the wall to stay safe, and Wiz Fusion follows up, finds the solo kill there. Looks like just ward control in the bot jungle is all it took, and Team Coast find another 5v4.
You get a kill. What are you going to get for that kill besides the gold? What are you going to get off of it? And immediately, they split him, too. Daydreamon's actually top with Golden Glue right now.
This is an interesting clip right here. Three guys in the bot lane. Rux does not quite get stunned, but there's the flash engage, and the Ziggs ulti finds one. DAC control now chasing down Summoner Heal used to try to gain more distance onto Wiz Fusion. Top lane and Hip Turret goes down. These guys not stopping the push, and Wiz Fusion, to be honest, is kiting very successfully. So 1 kill for an inhibitor and an inhibitor turret is the trade right now. Coast, play it right.
Yeah, it was just a bait there at the end by Wiz Fusion. How long are you going to chase me? And they go straight onto Saracen.
Wow, big damage comes in. The exhaust not going to be nearly enough. Golden Glue finds that one. Goes in now onto NATO and Dawn. It's a 2 versus 3. The Mikhail's used. The Tidal Wave not quite going to be enough. It's a 1-for-1 kill trade, but now Aranko's on the chase. Bubble's going to land. Good damage from Wiz Fusion. They've got to be careful, though. Right now, Coast is actually outnumbered, but they're staying.
They have that gold advantage for themselves, not the number advantage. They get the inhibitor, and now they have to wait on Golden Glue to come back up. They can set up for the Baron and start doing it, but by the time he comes up, he'll be able to get it. We'll have to see what the decision is for Team Coast.
Well,
looks like
right now,
Wiz makes an executive decision. Pop, pop.
Complete ward control. This is a 4-on-5 if TGF shows up. They're making their way over. NATO's coming up. They're all going through wards. So this is a known movement, and Coast's going to back off this one. They go for the phase check.
Wow.
There's the engage. In a 4 versus 5, they go for it. They find one. DAC control on the back line. Mashmi getting exploded on the front line. 1-for-1 kill so far. Wiz Fusion forced back. The numbers advantage. Too much. The flash for Rux to save Wiz Fusion. But a 1-for-1 kill for the winning team. Not the best choice.
Yeah. That was the best bubble I've seen in my life. That was incredible by Daydream right there. And they end up going 1-for-1 despite the numbers disadvantage, and they get the wave clear. They get NATO out of the picture, but the smite is out of the picture for Coast. But there's no Baron being started up by TGF.
Well, this does give time for Team Q4 simply to sit around, though, and farm this dead lane on the left-hand side that's got the dead inhibitor. Rux going to go ahead and sweep the bot side, but Coast have to wait around. Really actually kind of a long time before they can siege again, right? Coast wants to push down to the other side of the map, meaning NATO's available right now for defense. MASH not available for 35 seconds until it gets all the way down. So until like 33.5, Coast still can't really do anything without being outnumbered again.
They're going to go straight for the dragon now, though. MASH is on his way there. Wiz is going to start it up. He can actually solo it at this point. He's doing a great job of it. MASH is just going to show up for moral support, saying it can't be smited away. It's all good. He's probably not even going to use it. Yeah, he'll save it for Baron.
Jinx. Not even in this game. Still applies.
Omiya Coke Zero. Anyway.
Well played, sir. Team Green Forest now going to try to set up there around Baron. They've got a couple pink wards, a couple of green wards down themselves. Team Coast looking to keep this pressure. Rux does have teleport, as does DAC control. They're going to square off towards the bottom side of the map. Rux going to put these lanes in. Of course, top lane is actually building right now. There's a big wave pushing right here that's going to require attention by TGF, or they lose a Nexus turret. They get the bubble onto NATO. Big damage comes in. He's going to satchel charge away. He's going to say just barely safe, but the health bars are low. Golden Blue's going to find Dom.
2-on-1
versus 2. Can he find much for this? I think he bit off more than he can chew. And yes, he did. Coast trying too hard, giving away kills. Now Mashmi following suit, can't pick up the kill.
Doesn't go for the reset. Instead, jumps away, but he jumps right into Renko and Sarasun's hand. They have the CC chain now.
Wow, a lot of damage coming through Mashmi. He does not have the cooldowns available just yet.
1 second on
lead.
1
second. There we go. Tidal Wave gets nothing. Goes in for a Renko, but doesn't find it. Wiz Fusion. Mikhail's keeps him safe. Puts the damage down. Wow, look at the damage. Elise. Nice cocoon. Good binding. Wow. Stops the chase.
Hit MASH.
Yep.
One hit of Wiz. Look at that. Rux. Gonna get himself out of here. He's going to book it. No Golden Glue. They're doing all this 4v5.
But this is just so, like, in a way, depressing for Coast right there. Dead inhibitor, right? 10,000 gold lead. Complete control of the game. And they've squandered it now 3 times in a row.
Well, Golden
giving
Glue.
Away kills,
giving
away control.
He was, I think he was 3-2 at one point.
Yeah.
And now he's 3-5. The last couple of times he's been caught out, he's been too big for his britches. He's like, I'm just going to go and I see Caitlyn. Go. Doesn't know what's in his surrounding area, and it's the rest of the team who shows up. Isn't able to pull off the assassination kill. I talked about how Golden Glue loves assassins. He loves the aggressive play. Yasuo, he is an assassin in that regard, but he has more team fight-oriented play. Because you have to wait for about 3 spell rotations to kill somebody, it takes you a little bit longer than an upfront burst assassin to just pick someone off.
Hey, you're not Talon.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to full combo somebody and just they're gone.
No,
Same thing with Zed.
True. Well, right now, though, it looks like they're going to try one more time for Baron Nashor, although no waves are pushing easily for them. It's just Rux splitting off the side. They do have ward control, but if TGF shows up in time, they can stop Baron. He's losing health rapidly. Teleport comes in early just to defend the team. Daydream and waiting around on the wings, going to put a bubble down, going to do what he can to keep the team safe. Baron goes down, and Team Coast hold a 10,000 gold lead plus Baron.
Oh,
wave. Oh no, Windwall comes in. There's the tidal wave, and the engage comes in. Dak control the front line. Sarasun finds a very lackluster ultimate, but Rux has got to be careful. Shields come in. He's going to stay safe. The battle continuing. Mash me, Dak control, trading blows. Ziggs AoE comes out, but there's the knockup. They're still trading damage back and forth. Mash goes down, but they're trading now 1-for-1 in kills. Coast still have Baron, the 4v4. They can keep going.
That was a very strange fight that came out there. The knockups were not in a good place. Neither was that Windwall. But Golden Glue,
Left the bomb, at least.
He ends up not getting a setup there, and when he does get set up, there's a black shield on Arenko when he goes in, and there's no priority targets that get knocked up, allowing the last breath to be used effectively, but it's about to be back up. It's such a short cooldown, it's up now.
Wow, that's going to be difficult then. Coast's going to keep going at close to full power right here. Top inhibitor very much available for these guys. I don't think they're going to be forced away by this one. Bubble's going to come out. Binding's traded as well, but they're going to stay around the damage. One more auto attack and down goes the inhibitor. Dawn does not scare them away just because his name is Dawn. Looks like there's not really much Mafia behind him to support this one. They're going to get away. Team Coast get the inhib plus Baron.
Now they're going to go ahead and pick up little scraps of the jungle on their way out. Reset it here. We're going to see the bubble here, and the tidal wave only hits one. It parts it. Sarasun comes in, but he gets nothing for the ultimate. It's the second ultimate I've seen in a row where he hasn't gotten anything for it. And now Dak control, he's just trying to soak up the damage. And look at that. Arenko, he gets spell shield at the end, but he doesn't take any real damage from Golden Glue because he's getting tanky.
Yeah, that game was, or that fight rather, was Coast's backline of Wiz Fusion having to sort of kite around and back off from Ziggs ulti and stuff and wait as kind of Renekton bought time. And yeah,
he's doing a good job. Dak Control's doing a really good job of buying time. He's actually going full tank to just deal with this Golden Glue and Wiz Fusion threat. Warmogs looks like it's what's next for him, honestly.
I really like that choice, though. I mean, you mentioned at the very beginning, he's not going team-out. He's going for a team fight build because his gold's going to be lower. I love the choice by Dak Control. I think it's exactly the right build.
Yeah, it took so long for them to kill him.
Yeah.
Their AP threat is a Lulu, who doesn't really do sustained damage in the late game. It's a Glitter Lance and a Help Pix.
Yeah.
But then you wait around for a couple seconds. It's not somebody constantly auto-attacking you.
Right, and it's like, she's not even a big AoE mage. Like, she chooses her targets for most of her damage, meaning that Renekton really shouldn't be getting hit very much. Hex Drinker maybe even is almost more than you need in this case, because if Lulu does focus you with ease and auto-attacks, then screw it, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the case either way. Right now we're going to see the bottom lane siege, the attempt right there. Coast still are splitting with Rux, though. It's this Lulu in the mid lane. Of course, Dak Control forced to hold the top lane against super minions, pushing that out as best he can. Forced to recall back now to defend the base. Dawn losing a lot of health. Rux making some good plays. Mash me around as well, but bot lane now under fire.
Goes straight onto it. Blocks the cocoon. Now, if Golden Glue gets into the back line, he has Guardian Angel. Even if he goes up just for the last breath damage onto 1 or 2 people who are priority target, like Nado or Dawn, the fight is almost over by that point. Can they get the setup, though?
Taking the time with this one. Golden Glue going to take a binding. Windwall comes out. Very good. Windwall keeps them all safe, actually. And it will be back in time, I believe, for the next minion wave as well. So not even much of a wasted anything. Top lane, mid lane, still under fire. Actually, big super minion wave actually has reached the Nexus turrets right now. So Team Green Forest have to be real careful about this one. It's losing a lot of health.
Gonna go down.
It's actually going to fall. So one turret goes up the coast, and they fire down to the back line as well. There's the inhibitor turret going down. You've got Dak Control joining up to try to join the fight with a blue elixir on as well. The stun's coming out. Mash me in the front line, and here comes the fight.
There we go.
Big Ziggs ulti, though. Golden Glue has to ult in the back line to try to stay alive. He does find the kill on the Dawn. In fact, 2 guys dead for TGF. They're losing everybody right now. GA Pop, they're all still safe. 2 versus 5 in this battle. The Chase still coming in for a match. This is going to be the game. Team Coast gonna make it 2-0 as they chase kills down onto the Nexus turrets. And that's going to be it. On to the semifinals they go. Well played in the series.
Showing that their team fight prowess is much higher than what Team Green Force are bringing to the table. We saw that ultimate there at the end by Golden Glue. Priority target into the backline. Gets Dawn. Solo kills him.
Yeah.
Also locks up the rest of the team. They start coming back and converging on him, but the fight is already over by that point. They pop his GA. Not a problem at all. So congratulations to Team Coast. They seemed really good today, really on point with their new roster.
Yeah, and even with people in different locations, right? The fact they've got to kind of make do with a truly makeshift roster there is really impressive. So 2-0. First game, 30 minutes. Second game, 38 minutes. Pretty average times right there. So kind of par for the course. Not dragging things out unnecessarily. Not completely crushing super hardcore, but that's okay. That's not required of you to be a good team. And yeah, I honestly say I'm very impressed by the individual plays, especially, and you talked about this in game 1, of the bot lane. Wiz, Fusion, and Daydreamin', I believe, still went unkilled in that game, if I remember properly. So they did
good
great
stuff.
heads up. Yeah, that's just like, hey, they did really well. Kind of end of statement.
Oh, yeah. Throughout the entire match right there. Game 1, Game 2, deathless through it. And here's the thing, too, is that Team Coast came in with win conditions in mind.
Yes.
They said, this is the team comp we have in Champ Select. This is how we're going to win the game. X, Y, and Z. This is what we're doing. And Team Green Force kind of looked like, let's just pick our champions and see how the game goes. They didn't really put their foot on the pedal. They didn't really seem to come in with a big plan. It was like, Ziggs is going to siege the mid. But what are we going to do?
Yeah, like their early mid plan was fine. Like,
yes.
I really...
Their win conditions, though.
Yeah, sure, yeah, to actually close the game out. And the thing is, like, I did really like the first 15, 20 minutes from TGF.
Yes.
It was solid. They made really good choices. I think the big key for me, this is actually very, very smart. So they're in mid lane around 18 minutes or whatever. They clear the wave, and their wave's crashing on mid-tier turret. And they're like, you're going to kill that wave. BRB going bot lane. And they're like, that is smart. That's excellent play. That is the exact right choice and properly identified by TGF. Like that's the kind of moves you've got to make every 30 seconds. Not 4 times a game, 100 times a game. Say, you're doing this, we're going here and getting this turret for sure. And like that's super smart. That's the kind of plays they made. I didn't see any of that in game 1. I didn't see enough of it in game 2. But if they can do that kind of stuff, make the smart choices more often, that team can go places.
Yeah, they definitely can. Maybe they'll make it back in Summer Series 2, but Team Coast being victorious here, making it to the semifinals, and in style, too. Golden Glue, there's been a lot of criticism around him, but he was really the carry in this game. Yeah. What he ended up doing. The bot lane was very consistent, right? They did amazingly well. Yeah. Golden Glue was their win condition, though. He was like, I got shut down. I'm going to go farm. BRB in 20 minutes, goes solos the Renekton in a split push, and then pushes applies pressure to that lane so that the rest of the team has to back up. And that was really the turning point for me, is when Golden Glue was able to solo DAT control in the top lane and apply pressure to that inhibitor turret. Because then all of Team Green Force had to back up. They're like, we can't back. We can't back. We have to run back. And they were just outdueled in the little trickle back from the rest of Team Coast.
Absolutely. Absolutely greatly played by Coast right there. That snap decision making was perfect. They did a great job of that one. So Team Coast 2-0, they did wonderful. After that win there, we're going to see how the bracket shapes up. The semifinals are now set. On June 14th, Frank Fang Gaming will take on Team LawPro.
And on June 15th, Team Coast will go up against Curse Academy, who will finally play their first game of Summer Series 1. Curse Academy has already advanced due to a forfeit by Cloud9 Tempest, so there will be no challenger match tomorrow, but there will be plenty of NALCS action.